Oh man, it's great to be here with you guys. I maybe not on the best terms for me, as you said, Joe, as a Carolina fan. Maybe not the best time. I don't have anything to brag about. I have things to complain about. But it's great
Yeah.
to see both of you, and I love talking ACC basketball. So it's fun to have you guys, kind of carry that charge, in the triangle.
So you got me a couple podcasts ago with a tease. There
Mm.
was something in the notes about the Great Tobacco Road mistake. I think that's what was in the notes. Do I have that right?
Yeah, it's something like that.
Something
Yeah, I
like that.
can't
So I'm like,
remember.
okay.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
this was after. I think it was after the first Carolina pick game. I'm like, what's Tate going on? What's this mistake on Tobacco Road? And you brought up Jeff Capel and what he's been able to do against North Carolina versus what John Shire and what they were going through at that time at Duke. But Jason Capel, assistant coach, former Tar Heels, catching strays as you're talking about this. I'm thinking to myself, man, they still haven't let it go. And it all bubbled up last night, man. All bubbled up last night in the Smith Center. So as a Tar Heel guy, for these state dudes that you're talking to, can you explain what the hell's going on between y'all and Jason Capel?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's all in good fun. I have no personal, there's a lot of people that are my age that probably don't even know who Jason Capel is or know that Jason Capel played at Carolina, right? So, and they definitely don't know that Jason Capel wore number 25. And we learned after the fact that was the big issue, right? Creighton Lebo was in this graphic. He was sticking his tongue out. He's wearing number 25. Those are all the recent developments that would get people fired up. I am a kid that grew up with Joseph Forte. I know a lot of Carolina fans, they don't talk about Joseph Forte very much because it was, after Dean Smith leaves and it's in the Bill Guthridge leading into Matt Darty era. So it's like you guys, you're state fans, you guys know how this is. We Carolina fans like to act like that didn't happen. It's kind of like Jordan when he played against the Magic in 1995, right? It's like, don't talk about that series. Don't bring that up. We don't want to talk about that. Let's talk about 96, 97, 98. That is, and with Capel himself, right? I mean, he was a senior on the team that goes 8-20. He had a lot of frustrations about Joseph Forte and kind of his green light, so to speak, when he was at North Carolina. Forte leaves and gets drafted by the Boston Celtics, and it leads to one of the worst years of my childhood watching Carolina basketball. So I think in that sense, Jason Capel, just seeing his face brings back all those frustrations of being a kid, as you said, Joe, as being the 252 Tate from Henderson, North Carolina. I think that's what Jason Capel conjures up when I see him. And then, you add insult to injury when he's on the sideline with his brother, who was obviously a face of the Duke basketball program, and going back to the big half-court shot he hit before losing in overtime back in 1995.
And people forget that they lost. I always love that clip.
Right. They love showing the clip, but they don't like seeing the other side of that clip. I appreciate you knowing that. But, so it's already getting you a little fired up anyway. Capel's talking a lot. So it just kind of bubbled over last night. It's not anything personal with him. It's just, the kid in me sees 8-20, and then he's talking about he's a North Carolina legend, treat him as such. And I don't know. It was just a bridge too far, Joe. I got a little fired up.
That's fine. I get it. That's why we care, man. Sports brings it out of us, right?
Do you think Jason thinks it's all in good fun though?
I don't. Well, Joe. Let me just say, based on that reaction last night, I would say he definitely does not think it's all in good fun.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. I mean, their dad is, an iconic basketball coach. Everybody, it's kind of like with the same thing with the Hurley brothers, right? I mean, you have this legendary coach that you learn from. There's already that inherent respect that is there for you, for being a basketball family, for being a basketball lifer. You were at App State. We all remember. So those things are like all inherent if you are, if you understand kind of the playground that we're in. But I think, for Jason Capel himself, I mean, it was what do they say on the Levitard show? Look at me, Louie. It was a very look at me, Louie moment where, they win the game. Pitt wins the game. It should be a celebration of how great Burton was and, great coaching job from Jeff Capel. They're 8-0 against the spread on the road, but instead we're talking about Jason Capel, and maybe that's what he wants. I mean, and if it is, a mission accomplished.
Do you, when you look back at that 02 season, do you blame him more for that, or do you blame Matt Darty?
Whew, I mean,
does it feel like Capel has become the avatar for that season?
I think more so, yeah, maybe he's become like the face of that just because he was the senior on the team and he was supposed to be the best player. And I mean, I'm not sure the stats off the top of my head, but I think he averaged like 13 and 7 or something like that. Yeah. So more power to him. It's probably not fair to put it all, square on his shoulders, but for whatever reason, it's like Marcus Ginyard with the 2010 team, right? When he came back and everyone example. Says like, yep. Like you blame Marcus Ginyard or you say he's supposed to be leading these guys. It's all dumb tropes in sports, but for whatever reason, it got put on his shoulders. And maybe that frustration or that insecurity about that being placed on his shoulders is why he's so frustrated, because he was dealing with Matt Doherty, which we know that's not always the easiest thing to do.
Tate Frazier, Titus and Tate is the podcast, covers college hoops. I enjoy it. You all should enjoy it. All right, before we go, man. February 16th last year, Capel's quoted by B-Dot, goes viral. They're pretty over there. They don't want this. We kind of know how it played out the rest of the way. So we get this again. Pitt goes to the Smith Center. They get out toughed. Hubert Davis isn't happy. I get why people want to say, oh, well, maybe another turnaround's coming up. Duke's on Saturday. Did Brady Manek get more eligibility? Has he changed his name? Did they shave his beard and they're sneaking him back on? Because honestly, I think that's kind of the biggest problem right now. They really miss Brady Manek. I think we'll have a greater appreciation for what his role was on that run to the Final Four.
Yeah, they're missing whatever that piece is. I don't know what the connective tissue of this group. They played a lot of basketball together, but if you saw that last possession, you have the ball, you have a lead, you have experience, and it leads to a travel and a turn. I mean, that's at some level that's inexcusable. The unfortunate part when people try to draw the parallels between last year and this year is that Duke was good last year, right? Mm-hmm. And Duke had the number 1 pick, and Duke had a lot of talent, and beating Duke at Duke was a good win. I mean, to go into Cameron on Saturday and get a win, obviously, it's always going to be a nice feather in the cap.
You need it now for the NCAA tournament, man. Like, for real, you need it.
Of course, you get closer and closer to the bubble. The Joe Lunardis of the world, the Jerry Palms of the world, they're having a field day. They're back to where they want to be. They got Kentucky, they got Carolina, they got the bubble. It's a good day for them. It's a field day. They got fans watching.
Man. Content.
It's content. Go. You know what it is. But I think that's the unfortunate part when everyone's trying to make the parallels is that this is not the Duke team that we saw last year. It's not going to be some, oh, wow, we really can be one of those best teams if we beat these guys. I think it's, like you said, it might be almost a must-win at this point to get things back on track and make sure you're on the right side of the bubble.
Tate Frazier, Titus and Tate. Hey, man, we appreciate it. I know you got a busy day, got podcast editing and all that fun stuff. And I know last night stung a little bit, but we'll talk to you later.
Yeah, look, guys, I'll get over it. And I will say this before I leave. I like watching NC State. I like watching DJ Burns. I think they're a fun team. And, I think Kevin Keats is a great guy. So in a lot of situations, Carolina fans, State fans, we're supposed to hate each other. We're supposed to be going down and yelling at each other and getting at each other's throats and things like that. But I watched Carolina lose to Pitt, and then I watched NC State play, and I had a lot more fun watching NC State last night. So
it's a fun squad.
To you guys.
We'll see what happens on February 19th when they go to PNC Arena. Everybody, I know everybody's going to be looking at the free throw differential. I know that for a fact.
Well, that's NC State, right? They got to look at the fouls and the free throw differential.
All right, Tay. We'll talk to you later, man. Thanks,
guys.